So you're really giving so many fucks about what they think. And it's really starting from you because you're thinking they're thinking that way. More than likely because you think that way about yourself. However you feel and think about yourself, you're going to think everyone else around you is probably looking at you, judging you, saying the same things and thinking what you think about you. And so once I changed my thoughts about what I think about me, that's what helped me to not care so much about what everyone else thinks. That's what helped me to elevate and to be that girl. When you're so focused on what people could be thinking about you, you can't focus on you and being who you want to be.
Excuse me, can I please talk to you for a minute?
Hey girlfriends, and to everybody else, what up YouTube? Welcome back to another The Hey Girlfriend podcast. I'm your girl, Kindall D. And today's topic is gonna be about becoming that girl. Okay? So let's get into it. These are in no particular order, but they're all things that I personally did that could help you. So let's get into it. First things first. In order to become that girl, it is really hard to be around someone or company or people, whether it's a man, relationship, whoever. It's hard to level yourself up if you're around someone that kind of want to allow that. And what I mean by that is whoever you're surrounding yourself by, they say you're typically like the top 5 people that you're around. That's typically who you tend to be like. And so it's kind of hard for you to elevate and to be who you want to be if you're entertaining certain people. For me, it's because I was entertaining certain men. Like my exes in my 20s were all toxic. When I think about the woman that I am now, I think like I could never, ever be this woman that I am now in those relationships. Like, never. And the reason being is because the men I was with, they were toxic to say the least. But they more so wanted to possess me, if that makes sense. Even though they were cheating, they were toxic, verbally abusive, I feel like that, not even men only, I was going to say men, but I feel like people in general tend to be very possessive when they are like that because they love you so much and they fear that as well. And so they try to control it. And they try to control it in different ways. So while they're over here doing all this toxic shit, you're basically out of yourself. You can't even focus on yourself and your life because you're too busy trying to focus on them. And you're like, they're treating me like shit and I don't like it. And you're too busy focused on the relationship because it's not peaceful. You get what I'm saying? So if you're in a situation like that, you're never going to become the woman of your dreams. You're never going to elevate. You're never going to become that girl. Like, it's just impossible. And it's impossible to find yourself with someone like that, that's so possessive of you and want to control you. Because I used to think that being obsessive, possessive, I just think all that shit was love. I didn't really have an idea of what it was. And so I found myself in these relationships where if they really liked me, then I was going with it. I didn't really have my own standards. It was just, okay, they want me. Not to mention they're attractive. I'm attracted to them. They are crazy over me because they usually are crazy over you in the beginning, whether it's love bombing or whether it's just them starting early with trying to, sweep you off your feet or control you, all of that. Or it could be legit that's how they feel because in the beginning the feelings are strong. Because there's no other outside shit yet. It's just new, fresh, ooh, we're so into each other, yes. And so when you're so wrapped up into that, you're not even realizing that the shit is obsessive and possessive and it's gonna be controlling. That's not love. Love, I feel like, is more freeing. But I thought it was more so like trauma bonds. And so when you're in it, think about it, when you're in something like that, You're only a shell of who you are. I felt like I was a shell of the woman that I could be. I didn't know it then, but looking back, I'm like, I was too focused on love and too focused on marriage, too focused on having a relationship, too focused on everything that was outside of me, too focused on trying to be who I needed to be for whoever I was with to trust me, love me, want me, continue to want me, not abandon me, all of that. And so think about it, when you're so focused on that, you're so focused on pleasing this person, you're so focused on being whatever they want you to be because you're so focused on just having someone, being with someone, having a relationship. And the person that you're focusing on is like taking all of your focus. And you have no room left for you. And it's a quick way to lose yourself. I lost myself. And to be honest, I wouldn't say I lost myself. I didn't know myself. And since I didn't know myself, all I knew was that I wanted love. And that's what I poured into. So that's the number one thing. You have to free yourself from around things like that are holding you back. Now, if you're in a situation, and I know it's hard to let go. I know it's hard to break up. I know you're probably thinking like, damn, why is this the first thing that I got to do? Or you may not have this issue. We're going to get into some stuff that can help you if you don't have this issue. But if you're having a hard time, just think about how letting go can lead you into the unknown, but the unknown can be better than this known that you're in. If you haven't, you can check out my Letting Go podcast. It's off my Patreon. You can check it out on here. I uploaded it here for everyone to hear. But I talk about that. So check that out. Moving on into some other things to help you be that girl. Number 2 for me was understanding that I could be more than one way. I think sometimes we get so wrapped up in our heads about how we are supposed to be. It could come from standards that were placed on us from parents, which are not always bad, but it's ideal for you to figure out the standards that fit you and who you want to be. And so when you're so caught up on being just one way, it kind of puts you in a box. And you can't really exude all that you are if you're in a box. You're just being one way. So what I mean is like you can be ratchet and classy. You can be bougie and ghetto or whatever. You can be everything that you want to be. And that's what I found was like the most awakening thing for me was like I am a lot of things. Like a lot. I'm not just one. Just even the music I listen to. I am a lot of things and you can be the same. And it's like sometimes we get so caught up in our head about how this person should look or what you should be doing. Or even if you're trying to compare yourself to someone and be like them. No. Don't listen so much to what society says. Don't listen so much to what all the naysayers say. Like, for example, if it's something new you want to try it. Whether it's a different kind of outfit that may be a little risque. Whether it's a different kind of hair color that you've been afraid to because you're afraid people will call you names or people will call it, whatever. If it's even for something small as for me, lashes. I really got into lashes about maybe 5-6 years ago. I never really, I don't want to say judge anybody that wore them, but I was always like, oh, wow, that's like fake hair on your eyelashes. And I don't know, I had my doubts about it. But then I tried it and I liked it. And so, I don't know, I guess because I got up in my head about what others said about lashes. Or maybe I seen lashes that were a little bit too extravagant for me. So I'm like, okay, let's try something that's what I like. Let's try my style. So that's what I'm saying with you. You got to figure out what you would like to do. Who you would like to be. And don't think about one particular way that you have to be. Think about all the different many ways and different things that you can subscribe to. And just tell yourself, remind yourself, I can be any bitch I want to be. Yes, I said the B word. Because I'm like, to me being like that girl is being whoever you want to be. And it can be more than one thing. You can subscribe to more than one way type of life and girl and being. Like, it's limitless. Be all that you want to be and explore it. See what's different. See, try some different things. And my next one is something that I tend to do a lot is a Pisces, is be a little delusional. And what I mean by delusional, meaning you can paint and color your world any way you want. You can make your life to be anything that you want. Because think about it. If you can sit there and think about something negative and have a negative narrative and story in your mind, you could think about something else as well. You can think about something positive. So be delusional about the world that you would like to see, not about what's really in front of you, because that's not all there is to it. So if you will, you can call it daydreaming. Like, think about what it would be like to be the woman that you are imagining. What does she look like? What does she smell like? How does she dress? Where does she go? What's her day-to-day life? Think about that. Like, open yourself up to what else is out there. And what I mean by being delusional is not like a false reality. It's not something that's not real. It's being delusional about what could be. Like, for me, I feel like I advanced more and more because I kept my sight on, I've dreamed. I kept my sight on what could be, not what was, because I'm like, this is not all there is. And I'm seeing myself elevate more and more and more. And it's like, because being delusional, dreamy. People may make fun of it, or you may even tell yourself that it's not good enough because it's not real, but it could be real. I mean, what are you going to do? Sit there and think about the negative things, the things that are looking around, the things that are not how you want it to be. How do you want it to be? Be delusional about that. My next thing about being that girl that helped me is not giving a fuck what people think. And just giving zero fucks. And what I mean by that, let me further explain it. I stopped thinking about what other people could be possibly thinking about me. So the thing is, you say that you don't care what people think, but it's more so you controlling what you think. Because all those people around you probably ain't thinking that much shit about you as you think they are. So you're really giving so many fucks about what they think. And it's really starting from you because they're thinking that way. More than likely because you think that way about yourself. However you feel and think about yourself, you're going to think everyone else around you is probably looking at you, judging you, saying the same things and thinking what you think about you. And so once I changed my thoughts about what I think about me, that's what helped me to not care so much about what everyone else thinks. That's what helped me to elevate and to be that girl. Because I'll admit, trying to rise up and elevate to be that girl can be a little scary because you're coming out of your comfort zone. You're becoming someone different. It's like you're blossoming. And it's like almost like a caterpillar trying to learn to use its butterfly wings for the first time. It's like you're elevating. So it can be a little scary because you're afraid of what's going to happen, what people are going to think, how people around you are going to say, oh, you're acting different, or whatever you could be thinking in your head. When you're so focused on what people could be thinking about you, you can't focus on you and being who you want to be. You feel me? So it's like, once you change your mindset about you, and I did that by having a lot of self-compassion, a lot of self-acceptance, a lot of self-love, a lot of changing my mindset about me, a lot of loving me, flaws and all of that. Once I embodied and started loving all of that and accepting it and embracing it, and it's a daily thing. Once I did that, my thoughts about what people could be thinking about me were different. For example, you can even think that people are thinking, man, she the bad bitch. Man, she the shit. Ooh, I wish my hair was like that. Ooh, I like her eyebrows. Ooh, I like her makeup. You could start thinking that they thinking good things about you. Unless someone directly comes to you and tell you, they think this about you. You don't know what they are thinking about you. You are making it up in your own head. And once I realized that, it's like light bulb moment. Like, so I can change all this shit, huh? I can think what I want to think and make them think what I want them to think about me, And it's like once you start to level up and rise up, it's like you don't even see them. Like, I can't see the haters. Oh, I'm playing. This is corny. But I don't know. That's what it is. It's like you can't see them. And it's like I see so many people, like, not judging nobody, but I see a lot of people that be talking about their haters and talking about this and that. I don't see that. And it's because I'm not focused on it. The only way I know is if someone is directly trying to say something to me and project on me. But other than that, I'm not looking for it. I don't see that. But then again, people that do that could be using the delusion, being delusional. So instead of thinking that people think bad things about them, they're thinking, oh, they just switch it around and say, oh, they just hating. I mean, if it works for you, be a little delusional. It ain't hurt nobody. Do it. But for me, I just really started, altering my thoughts and my mindset about me. And not even just about the physical part, the outer layers, even the deep surface stuff. Like, some people may be ashamed of what they've gone through. So they thinking people are going to think bad thoughts about them because they're still feeling that shame. When you're still feeling that shame about any part of you, anything you've been through, anything to do with you, when you're still feeling that shame, you first have to admit that you feel some type of shame. Sometimes people have a hard time admitting that because they think it's a weakness, but it's not. It's a part of you that's tender and needs your attention and love and care. And so if you have anything in you, anything about you, your past, that you feel ashamed of or you don't feel so good about, you're going to automatically think everyone around you is judging you and feeling the same way about you. Even if you had someone from your past, like one or two people, maybe a few, that shamed you for that part of you, that's going to stay with you, those 1 or 2, 3 people. But your voice can be stronger than that. Because something that I've learned is that people really do project. People that don't understand you or understand what you've been through, they will project instead of having a curiosity about that. And people that don't feel so good about themselves, people that maybe, whatever it is, it's not a reflection of you, how they treat you and how they act towards you about whatever you have going on with you. It's not a reflection of you at all. And that's what I had to realize. Like with me, mine was about my weight and things like that. Even how I looked without makeup and whatever, and people used to make fun of me, and I used to be ashamed of it. Used to be ashamed of my skin. But I've been doing more videos, like on my TikTok and whatever, without makeup on. Because I'm like, they told me that it was ugly. Other people have made me feel like that. I don't have to feel that way. That's a few people. It's a billion people in this world. I'm going to listen to those few people? Like, you really going to take what they said and put it in your head and think that way about you? No. So I decided that I can switch this around and think how I want to think about me. And so can you. You can control what you think. Think about it. If you can think something negative about you or believe something negative about you, why can't you believe something honest and truthful about you? Something positive about you? Why can't you believe that? And it's because you can. You definitely can. And then what else helped me be that girl? Confidence. How do I get confidence? It's all the things I listed, but my main confidence came from me understanding that I can give myself room for improvement. I can give myself room to grow. I can give myself room to be better at something. And that's how you build confidence. Confidence is not just handed to you like, oh, I have confidence now. It comes from you doing the shit while you're a little scared. And it comes from you trying anyway, giving yourself a fighting chance. I can't tell you how many podcast episodes I've uploaded to here on my Patreon that I didn't really feel the best about, but I did it anyway because I'm giving myself a shot. And everybody poured out saying, oh, I loved it, I loved it, I loved it. And I'm like, damn, I was hard on myself for no reason. Like, it ended up being something that a lot of people liked. And so I started just trying. And it's how you do. It's like, I think the reason why a lot of people have an issue with, well, not an issue with, but they're scared to try, is because they're scared of failure. Or they're scared that it won't be good enough. Or they're scared that, what people are going to think. whatever it is that's holding you back. It's self-sabotage, of course. And so I stopped the self-sabotaging by just saying, whatever, fuck it, here we go. You know, I'm going to try it anyway, because I'm like, this life, remember I said I was delusional. This life that I'm dreaming about, this life that I want, how am I going to get it? I can't get it by self-sabotaging and being afraid of what everybody else think, being afraid of failure, being afraid of mistakes. You know, if I'm to keep doing that, I'm never going to reach what I really want. And so once I realized I'm never going to reach it, I said, you know what, let's just try it. If I fail, oh well. Failure is not really a reflection of you not being good enough. I think that's what scares some people. In order to be that girl, trust and believe that that girl probably had some failures, some setbacks, some things that they're not so proud of, but they kept pushing, kept going. And that's how I feel that I've become that girl, because I built this confidence, and I keep building it, and I keep trying, and I keep going, because I'm like, it almost becomes addictive trying to go after what you want. Like, you have to be addicted to that change and that want and that delusional dream that you have. Addicted to seeing it become true and working towards it. Because one thing that also helped me is that I think about a lot of other women, a lot of other greats that I've seen start from the bottom and work their way up. And I'm like, none of your favorites got that way overnight. None of them. Even Beyonce, you know, you see her now as being just that queen bitch. She is just that girl. She is just like, she hated to love it. She is on top, okay? And she knows it. But it's like, I think all the way back to her Destiny Child days, even before that, she worked for that. She kept going. Hell, she's even fallen on stage sometimes. So what you're going to do? Be like, I'm afraid that I'm going to mess up on stage and they're going to hold you back. What if Beyonce said after she fell on stage, you know, fuck it. Nope, I ain't doing it no more. I failed. I fell on stage. I can't do this no more. Nope. We wouldn't have this album renaissance that so many of y'all love. We wouldn't have this music that y'all love if she gave up because she failed. Like literally and figuratively, like failed and failed. We wouldn't have her now. And so that's what makes me realize, like, you know what? I can do that too. And that's like moving into my next thing that helped me. It's like looking at someone that inspires me and being like, instead of looking at like comparing myself like, man, I wish I could be like that. Or man, oh, I wish I could have that life. Or oh man, look at that. I'd be like, I can do that too. Or let me see how I can implement that in my life. Not saying I got to be directly like them, like exactly like how they are, or take their exact path. But I'm like, if they can do it, I can do it. Why can't you do it too? And so I want you to do that. That's your homework after you're done listening to this. Find the people in your life, celebrities, people you know, anyone. Find them in your life. So anyone you aspire that inspires you. And look at how they are, where they came from, if you know their backstory. And tell yourself, remind yourself and affirm yourself that I can do it too. I can try and fail and keep going. It doesn't mean anything. You got to get out your own head. Because that's another thing I realized. It's like, it's hard to be that girl when you're stuck in your own head. And when you're overthinking shit. And when you're like, you can self-sabotage yourself, but just your mindset alone and how it is. And so once I started realizing, like, I need to change my mind about things, that's what helped me to, you know, push forward. And another thing, the next thing I want to add is, you don't have to be perfect. You don't have to get it right all the time. You don't have to be on all the time. You don't have to even look your best all the time. You can still be that girl. Even when I'm just sitting around the house with no makeup on, in my head, I'm still a pretty bitch. In my head, I'm still that girl. In my head, I'm still, you know, the shit. In my head, I'm still all of who I was, even when I'm like this, presenting myself. And that's why I think so many of us feel like that we aren't that girl, because we have moments of when we're not feeling our best. It's okay. You are human. Being that girl doesn't mean that you're not human anymore. It means that you're actually you have self-acceptance and self-compassion for all your parts, for every part of you. And so once you embrace every part of you, whether you're on or off, whether you're popping or not popping, whether you're making a mistake or you're not, whether you're excelling or whether you're, a little behind, not doing the best you can do right now, don't beat yourself up. Like, that's something that I've never really done. And I think that's because I really got that from my mom. Like, it was a lot of things missing from my childhood, but one thing I always remember with my mom is that whenever she made a mistake or whatever, something didn't go right, she'd be like, damn, like this. She'd be kind of upset, but then she's like, well, I know now, and keep it moving. She never really wallowed or dwelled on a past mistake or something that went wrong or something that didn't go exactly how she planned. Or most things, I would say. It may have been one or two things that just stuck with her. Maybe because it was traumatizing to her. But that's another story. But I realized is that I implement that myself because I'm like, I don't know, I just gotta try. I feel like, think of yourself like this. This is something else that can help you with your mindset. Think of yourself like this. Think of yourself as someone you really want to get to know and love and be with and understand. Think of yourself like, it's two of you. Think of yourself as you're looking at yourself and think of, almost like hug yourself. Think of yourself as like, I want to get to know this person. I want to fall in love with this person. I want to understand them. I want to accept them, all their flaws, just like you would be like in a relationship with someone. Think about how you work to get to know them, how you go out on dates with them and talk to them, and how you try to understand them. Even the ones the exes that you shouldn't have understood, you understood them in a way. Understand yourself that way. Look at yourself that way as well because you deserve it. That's one thing that you have to get in your head is that everything that you're giving out or trying to give out, you deserve it as well. You deserve to give it to yourself. I know that sounds so cliche, but sometimes I don't think we realize how much of ourselves we're really giving out. I don't think we realize how much of ourselves we're really neglecting. Because in my past relationships, I didn't realize that. I thought that I was doing the right thing. I thought that it was okay for me to pour my all into this person and try to get them to love me and try to show them how much I love them and try to get them to trust me and be in a relationship with them and trying to make it work. I thought I was doing the right thing. But looking back, I wanted someone to love me for me, but I didn't even love me for me. And I was trying to figure out why they couldn't love me for me. And it's because I didn't. And when you don't really fuck with yourself like that or, have your own back like that, nobody else will. You're going to find yourself trying to outsource all of that. You're going to find yourself trying to look for it in everyone you date. You're going to find yourself looking for the outside validation because it's almost like you don't feel like yours is enough or you don't know how to do it. Either or. And for me, I think it was both. I didn't know how to do it. I didn't know that it was a thing. And when you grew up in an environment where that part of you wasn't really nurtured, you didn't really have someone to be emotionally there for you, or you didn't get your emotional needs met. It's hard to see yourself like that. You only see yourself as someone that can be of service to someone else because that's how you were raised and taught. So you think that's the right thing to do, and not to mention if you're religious or grew up in a church like I did, it was always, put others first and whatnot. And it was always how of service you can be to somebody else, how you can serve somebody else. And don't get me wrong, all of this is fine and whatnot. I'm not saying to be totally selfish and to where you don't do shit for nobody, but I'm saying you have to know your boundaries and have your back. Almost like you're protecting yourself. Like, say if you were, like, you're protecting, like you're a child, protecting yourself. Like, I can't, you can't play about you. That's what I realized. It's like, I don't play about me. And I don't care who has an issue with it. It's me first. And then what overflows is what others get. And think about it. If I'm not putting me first, if I'm not pouring into me, if I'm not being myself, if I'm not, catering to my life, if I'm not catering to myself, if I'm not anything to me, I can't be anything to anyone else. And that's what you have to realize. It's like, Yeah, some people in your life may have a fit when you start to change and you start to grow, you start to elevate, you start to put yourself first, and you start to kind of, change a bit. But usually what it is that those people only knew you when you were that person, or they either benefited off you being that person. And so it may be hard. Sometimes they'll grow with you and sometimes they won't. And I think that's what kind of stops a lot of people sometimes. But I had to realize that I'm living my life for me. You're living your life for yourself. You can't live it for nobody else. Nobody else is in your body, in your shoes. No one else. No, it's for you. Your life is for you. And so once I really started thinking about that, I'm like, I really owe it to myself to be all that I want to be. I really owe it to myself to try, to give myself a shot, to be better than I was before, to heal my inner child, all of that. And so it's like being that girl, it's a mindset too. Now, getting into more so of the I guess the parts I would say that are not so intrinsic, getting more into like the outer part, it's how you have a standard for yourself as well. What is the standard for you and how you carry yourself and what you tolerate and don't? What are your boundaries for yourself? This is not even talking about just being in a relationship or with someone. It's you figuring out what you need for you in order for you to be you, in order for you to have peace, in order for you to feel like yourself. What do you need? Like, what is a standard for your life? Some people may try to call me bougie, but I don't care anymore. Some people tried to call me, I'm trying to think of names, I can't even think of everything, but stuck up, conceited, or all of that. It's like, I know me, but it's like sometimes what I think is happening is when people say those things about you, it's reflecting lack in them. It's reflecting a part of them that they kind of wish that they were, but they feel they can't. And to be honest, I used to look at the girls in high school that were quote unquote all that and be like, she thinks she all that. And I used to have kind of like a little animosity towards them. I'll admit, like, who they think they are. And when I look back, a lot of them girls weren't even really stuck up, weren't even really bad people. I was just like, how in the hell can you be that confident? Like, because I didn't have it. And that's just me admitting it to myself. And now, and as I started to grow, I realized I was kind of afraid of becoming that girl because I didn't want everyone around me to think I was too much, too stuck up, or too high maintenance. And so once I wrapped my brain around that's what was happening, is that I was afraid to elevate because I was afraid of being too much, of being really that girl, because of the mindset I had around it before. That's when I was like, it's time to elevate now, because I'm like, now I see that the way that I thought before was really a me problem. So I had to change that mindset. And as I started elevating, I'm like, okay, since I changed that mindset, anybody else that think that way about me can change their mindset too. I realize it's a them problem, not a me problem. So let me go on and elevate and let them have their little problems with whatever I'm doing, because it's a them problem, not a me problem. You can't make all of their problems your problems. And so it's like, because there's so many people, I can tell you now that probably think Beyonce is a stuck up bitch, a bougie bitch. It's a lot of people that think Beyonce is this and that. I mean, come on now. But is she going to stop being that girl, making music for girls that feel like they're that girl? No, she's not. Is she going to stop telling you that she's flawless and that she the shit? Nope. Because she know that, it's empowering. And if you're not empowered by it, that's a you problem. So think about it like that. If you're afraid to elevate because you're afraid of being too much, or being, looked at as stuck up or judged or whatever. If you're afraid, don't live in that lack. Don't be in that lack. You owe yourself more than that. You owe yourself more than just being, mediocre. Now, I'm not here to tell you what mediocre is and what being that girl is. You decide what's leveling up for you. Leveling up for you can be just as simple as you simply changing how you dress. Like maybe if you were kind of afraid to wear your cleavage out because you're afraid of what people would think, and you start maybe slowly doing that, that's you, Or if you don't, it's whatever, it's you. And what you feel like is elevating, what you feel like has kind of held you back because of other people's thoughts, you can elevate it and change it. And some other ways that I became or feel like that helps me to be that girl is I take the time to tailor my look to what feels good with me. What I mean by that, I mean from the hair to the makeup to the nails to the clothes. I upkeep myself because it makes me feel good. So whatever you feel, do something for yourself. Like if you want to look a certain way, dress a certain way, wear and do what's comfortable for you. Like for me, what make me feel like that girl is when the hair is laid. Like some people may say, oh, girls that wear weave and this and that. I don't care. If it makes me feel good, if I feel good in my hair, in my bundles, if I feel good with my eyebrows done, with my eyelashes on, with my lipstick on, my nails done, with my clothes, if I'm wearing my cleavage out, if I'm wearing my legs out, if I'm wearing shorts, whatever, it's because I feel good and comfortable in it. And I'm going to walk with confidence in it. You have to wear what you feel confident in. Some people, it may be a little more modest. But whatever it is, you got to carry it like you know you that girl. Like you confident in it. So you got to dress appealing to you. Wear what you want to wear. Wear what makes you feel like that bitch. Basically. And don't hold yourself back. Don't box yourself into a certain look or a certain way that you have to be. Try it out. If you want it, try it out. And you want to, just wear something different, do it. But for me, it was like putting my all into my look and taking care of myself. That goes into my next one, like self-care. Like, I know it sounds a little cliche. Some of these are going to be a little cliche, but I'm going to explain it to where it's not so cliche. But for me, self-care is, I almost romanticize it as I do it, if that makes sense. Like, when I'm doing my skincare, I'm just imagining that I'm just taking my time. That's what it is. I like taking my time, and I'm just like, pampering myself. Like I'm putting that into myself, that time into myself, and not just rushing through it or saying I don't feel like doing it, whatever. I'm actually taking the time to pamper myself and to make myself feel good and to make my face look good, whatever it is. Like I'm caring about how everything on me looks, and I'm putting that time into it. Think of it as like you're prioritizing yourself. If you are making yourself a priority, that's definitely top-notch, that girl behavior. And I feel like a lot of us women tend to have forgotten that. And I feel like it's because of the patriarchal society that we live in. And how we're slowly coming out of it. But think about it. It's like it was always the woman was supposed to prioritize being a wife and a mother and taking care of home and her man. But where does she ever fit into that? The men were always told to go out, get a job, make money, make some of themselves and all of that. But while the women were like told, get you a man, get married, have a child, And don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with those things. But who else are you? Outside of that, like if you're single and you're thinking that's what you really want for yourself, nothing's wrong with that. But who are you besides that? What do you want for yourself? Your list of goals should not should not only include getting married, having a child, and having a man or whatever. It should not only include that, because what you're find happening to yourself is that once you get into a relationship, you are solely about them. And you're going to realize that, okay, I'm losing myself. I'm not getting what I need. And then by that time, it's kind of too late, because he's sitting there thinking, you're fine with just prioritizing me only. And now you're in it and you're realizing this ain't what I want. And it's like, what about me? It's too late by then. Or if you can change and it may not work. I know if I would have gotten married in my 20s based off the principles, morals, and standards I have for myself then, I'd be definitely divorced by now. Or if I was still married, we'd be butting heads because I'm like trying to emerge. That's why I started with, you cannot elevate and be that girl if you're stuck somewhere where it's not allowing you to elevate because someone's trying to possess you or control you, or you're in a situation where your focus is solely on them. You can't be that girl if you're not prioritizing yourself. You just cannot. And so you have to find ways to prioritize yourself, your life, make yourself a priority, number one priority. And it's like, I'm always focused on elevating, being better. How can I be better at my job that I do? How can I be better at, what I do with doing this content with myself? How can I elevate? How can I reach these delusional dreams that I have? And so once you're so focused on that, you can't help but to be that girl. But I don't want y'all to think that that girl is someone on TikTok with a bunch of followers, or that girl that's, taking a badass photo on Instagram and posing and know how to do all that. You don't have to do any of that and it can still be that girl. It's not for show or for everybody else to think. It's for you to basically make yourself a priority and elevate yourself. And if you want to be that girl on there posing in them bad pictures, taking them bad poses and being like stunning on the gram, whatever they call it, then do it. You can do it too. That's how I look at it. Like when I'm feeling it and I feel like I can take a good picture, I'm gonna take it. But if not, I'm still that girl at the end of the day. What else do I have? I feel like that's all I have, but I do want to end with some key points here. I don't feel like I have any more to add to the list. If I do it in these key points, but I want to make some things clear here. And so I don't want anyone listening to this to get caught up in becoming that girl because they feel like it's something that you have to like obtain, or it's something that you're not already are. You definitely probably already are that girl. But you may just not be making yourself a priority and making your life about you. That's the main thing I want to make. Making your life about you means that you are compassionate about your flaws and, compassionate about not just what makes you perfect, quote unquote, but you're compassionate about every single being of you. Everything about you. It's embracing everything about you. Self-acceptance. Because I don't want you to think that being that girl means that now you are perfect. Or now you are, I just don't want you to think that it's something you have to continue to strive for. You can consider yourself that girl now, but maybe you can work on some things like making yourself a priority. That is the number one main thing of it all. That all of this really entails. And if you notice, a lot of the things I said is like changing your mindset, changing, your ideas around what people think about you and just what do you think about you. It's all coming back to self. And it sounds like, oh, that's being selfish, but it's really not. It's really time that you are just living your life for you. And whoever wants to join in on it because how you live your life, they like it or they can add to it, then so be it. Because it's like something that I really am proud of myself for doing this go around in this relationship, in this marriage that I am, is making myself a priority, like I stated before, but it's like really continuing to go after what I want out of life. I feel like I did not just settle on having that title of being a wife. Although I know I wanted to be one, that wasn't all there was to me. Because right before, I can tell you this, this is a key point. Right before I met him, my now husband, I remember making this Facebook post where I was like, it had to be like in 27 or 8. And I was coming out of my toxic relationship. And I was like, I've decided that for my life, what I want is to make my own dreams come true. I thought of things that did not involve meeting someone, having a man, having a child, having marriage. I thought about goals that I could obtain by myself. And that's what you have to do. Think of the goals you can obtain by yourself, whether you're with someone or not. Because you want to really nurture the parts of you that no one else can take from you. That is the key point that I want to make. I almost left it out. You don't want to nurture the things and pour into other things that can be taken away from you. Because believe it or not, well, you believe it, people are not yours to keep. People are really just experiences. People, you can lose people a number of ways. I don't have to get into the ways you can lose people because I'm not trying to get that deep. but people, that's just what I realized. Like, people just aren't yours to keep. They're just for you to experience life with. And so think about it. If you're making something like that a priority, you're missing out on yourself. And you're pouring into something else that could, at any moment, not be yours anymore. Not be your life anymore. And then you're left to sit alone with what? Nothing. Because everything that you poured into is now walking out that door, or is now no longer with you. You know? And so that is what being that girl is. That I realized. It's like, I really just started, back to what I was saying, I got off track, about the Facebook post. I started, thinking of goals for myself. And some of them were, just to share, I wanted to live by the ocean. I loved LA. I think I said I wanted a platform like this. I wanted to work for myself. I can't remember, it was a lot of things. But I remember on Facebook I made a post and it got a lot of shares. It was a while ago, years ago, before I met my husband now. I had decided that that's what I was going to put my eyes on and not on love anymore. Because it was like, why? That's something that I feel gravitates to you. I don't feel you can really find it. I don't feel you can really find a husband. I feel like they find you, and if it's right, it falls in line with your life. It falls in alignment. That's how I feel. And so once I started realizing that about myself, I made that vow and promise to myself that I was never going to allow a relationship or a man or anyone be the main priority in my life. And it's like, because doing that, it didn't feel good. It not only did it not feel good, it felt like I was just a shell of myself. Like, it felt like I was, you know what? It was like I was dehumanizing myself. That's what it is. It felt like I wasn't even human. It felt like I was just solely put on earth to find love and make these men love me and act right. And I was in and out these toxic relationships. It was just like, it's more to life than that. And so that's the main thing. That is the main thing. It's like, I want you to know that you can be in a relationship. You can have a man or whoever you date, whatever you date. You can have someone and make yourself a priority, make your life a priority. You can't have both. What I find that it is that the best, most peaceful relationships are two individuals with their own goals, their own life, their own things they want for themselves. Two people living their own lives together. And it's like, I could not imagine if I was with someone that was really just all up under me and didn't have anything going for themselves, anything they wanted to do with their life, any friends, anything, just like all about me. I feel like that's how codependent relationships are created, when someone's not prioritizing themselves. I wasn't making myself a priority. And so, yes, I was codependent on whoever I was with, because I'm like, you are my life now. I didn't have a life till you came along. Now I'm making you my life. And you can't leave me. You can't hurt me. You can't abandon me, because then I won't have no life. You can't do that, girlfriends. You can't. That's not being that girl. And Something else, a key point I want to make is that it may be a little scary if you have abandonment wounds or traumas or things that you're still working on and healing. I get it. It may be a little scary, but it's like, because I came up with this idea to prioritize myself before I met my husband. And like I said, it wasn't scary at that time because I'm like, what else do I have to lose? And it's like, I realized I spent my whole 20s in bad relationships, and I'm like, I can't do this. I can't lose myself again. And I started realizing, like, I got a whole life. And I think what helped me was that right when my last relationship was coming to an end, I went on a trip with some friends. It was my first trip out of the country, my first cruise, my first plane ride, everything. At like, 28 years old, 29, I think. It was my first everything. And I'm like, after that, I'm like, Kindall, there's so much more to life. There's so much more out there. This world is big. Standing in front of the ocean for the first time, I'm like, this is out here. And I guess it's because it opened up my mindset to what's really out there and to the possibilities. And it opened my mind to be more abundant instead of so scarce, thinking that love was the only thing that can make me happy. That's what it was. And I'm realizing, like, that is not the only thing that can make me happy. A relationship, love is not the only thing that can make me happy. And I think that's why it's hard for a lot of us to be that girl and to make ourselves a priority, because we're like, if I make myself a priority, what does that mean for me in love and finding someone? That means that since I'm putting myself first, I can't put nobody else in my life first. But that's what you want. If you're putting yourself first, someone's going to come in that's going to add to your life. And since they're not codependent on each other, you're both living your life together peacefully, freely. No one's trying to possess each other. And that's what you want. But outside of a relationship, outside of you finding someone, if you're single, just be that girl and realize there is a whole lot more to life. There are a whole lot of different ways and experiences that you can have that can add value to your life. You can make yourself your number one priority and see how your life elevates. Like, think about you. What do you want? Don't think about the marriage ring. Don't think about the kids. Don't think about any of those things that you can't do on your own. What do you want for yourself? That's what I wanted to leave you with. Journal that out. What do you want for your life? How do you see yourself being that girl? What does that girl feel like and look like to you? And go after it. And remember what I said. It's okay to fall down. It's okay to not get it the first time. It's okay to fail. Failure is really just building character to build you up, okay? So, go out and be that girl. Go out and make yourself first. Okay, girlfriends? That's all I got. Of course, if I have anything bonus or anything extra, I have a lot of stuff on my Patreon already. You can join for $5. If you want coaching, there's coaching options on there as well. They start off at $30 a month. But I have hundreds of podcasts on there about everything. And you can check it out. And if I have anything bonus to say about being that girl, it'd be on there. But that's all I got for this podcast episode, girlfriends. Until the next one, peace out.